One of the things that I'm learning in this season is that Bible study does not have to be complicated. Me personally, I was overcomplicating it. I would feel guilty if it didn't take me long enough to do the whole Bible study, but realizing that it doesn't matter if it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, more, you're still getting time in with the word. Let's get into it. All right, y'all. So gather your supplies. We are going to be studying a very small passage, but we're going to be cross-referencing it between Luke and Mark as well, because we all know these are the synoptic gospels. They parallel each other, but some of the writers add a little bit more detail than others. No shade to you, Matthew. But what I have is just my Bible. I'm in the ESV translation today. If you see my TikTok, this is my brand new compact, large print Bible. No frills Bible, just the word, nothing extra. And it's compact. Y'all, I love this Bible so much already. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start off by reading the passage. Again, we are in Matthew 8, verses 28 through 34. Let's get started. And when he came to the other side, to the country of the Gadarenes, 2 demon-possessed men met him, coming out of the tombs, so fierce that no one could pass that way. And behold, they cried out, "What have you to do with us, O Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time?" Now a herd of many pigs was feeding at some distance from them. And the demons begged them, saying, "If you cast us out, send us away into the herd of pigs." And he said to them, "Go." So they came out and went into the pigs, and behold, the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the sea and drowned in the waters. The herdsmen fled, and going into the city, they told everything, especially what had happened to the demon-possessed men. And behold, all the city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they begged him to leave their region. Okay, so what do y'all think about that passage? Because this is where I ended up getting stuck between verses, let's see. Yeah, just pretty much verse 34, where it just says, like, the city came out, the whole city, all of the city came out to meet Jesus. And when they saw him, they begged him to leave their region. And I'm just sitting there like, I know there were occasions where Jesus wasn't welcomed and people wasn't receptive to, like, what he had to offer. Like, what he had to, like, say, like, the gospel, the truth. And I was just flabbergasted that the whole town came out and said, "You need to leave." But then again, thinking about today and where we are in today's culture, and even past, because rejection is not new to Jesus. He sees everyone, like, he sees all of the people who reject him, reject his word, and reject the truth of who he is. But it's just the magnitude of a whole city when we have really whole countries that would likely do the same thing. But they rejected him. Well, let me not give it away, because I'm just taking you guys through my process of how I came to understand what the passage meant. So that's Matthew. Let's go hear what Luke had to say about it, because it gets a little bit clearer as we go through each particular gospel. So let's go read what Luke had to say. Oh, wait, no. I'm skipping. Mark was next. So I'm looking in the footnotes here. I'm sorry you can't see. But in the footnotes, it has the parallels. So for this particular passage, the parallel for these verses are Mark 5, 1 through 21, and Luke 8, 26 through 39. So let's go read what Mark had to say. Mark gave a little bit more detail than Matthew. That was Mark 5, 1 through 21. Yeah. They came to the other side of the sea, to the country of the Gerasenes. And when Jesus had stepped out of the boat, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. He lived among the tombs, and no one could bind him any more, not even with a chain, for he had often been bound with shackles and chains. But he wrenched the chains apart. He broke the shackles in pieces. No one had the strength to subdue him. Night and day, among the tombs and on the mountains, he was always crying out and cutting himself with stones. And when he saw Jesus from afar, he ran and fell down before him. And crying out with a loud voice, he said, "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I adjure you by God, do not torment me." For he was saying to him, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." And Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" He replied, "My name is Legion, for we are many." And he begged him earnestly not to send them out of the country. Now a great herd of pigs was feeding there on the hillside. And they begged him, saying, "Send us to the pigs. Let us enter them." So he gave them permission, and the unclean spirits came out and into the pigs. And the herd, numbering about 2,000 pigs, rushed down the steep bank into the sea and drowned in the sea. The herdsmen fled and told it in the city and in the country, and people came to see what it was that had happened. As they came to Jesus and saw the demon-possessed man, the one who had the legion, sitting there, clothed and in his right mind, they were afraid. And those who had seen it described to them what had happened to the demon-possessed man and to the pigs. And they began to beg Jesus to depart from their region. As he was getting into the boat, the man who had been possessed with the demons begged him that he might be with him. And he did not permit him, but said to him, "Go home to your friends and tell them how much the Lord has done for you, and how he has had mercy on you." And he went away and began to proclaim in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and everyone marveled. And when Jesus had crossed again in the boat to the other side, a great crowd gathered about him, and he was beside the sea. Okay, so I think we're going to start with Mark. Luke says the same thing, but we really needed the additional details from Mark to really understand the passage and why these people chose to dismiss Jesus like that. Pretty much, we can summarize this as the main idea was that Jesus healed a demon-possessed man. Love that. Man got healed as he needed to be. The demons fled. Like, the demons asked Jesus to not torment them before it was their time. So, they have a time. We know their time is coming soon. But instead, they asked for Jesus to send them into the pigs. Now, Matthew didn't give the additional context of what size of the herd of the pigs were. So I'm just talking through like my thought when I first kind of read through this. And so I'm thinking herd of pigs, okay, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 pigs, off to the side. Well, hold on. I don't know, because he said, well, like in Mark, he said, before we got to that part, they said, we are legion, for we are many. How many is many? Yeah. So with that additional context in mind, there was 2,000, a herd of 2,000 pigs that the demons got sent into. So it took me breaking out the Tony Evans. Well, I looked at a couple of commentaries. I looked at Enduring Word. I looked at Matthew Henry's. And the last one I pulled out was the Tony Evans ones. Now this one I was using in my Logos software, but I have this one physically, so I'm gonna turn to it here. And it just makes so much sense. I'll read this part too. This is on, if you have the Tony Evans Bible commentary, it's on page 880. Acknowledging Jesus' authority and power, the demons begged him to send them into a herd of pigs. So he sent the demons into the swine, which subsequently plunged into the sea and perished. Pigs were unclean animals, which is likely why the demons chose to be cast into them. Demons produce both destruction and death in environments that are unclean. Did the Gentile herdsmen rejoice that 2 men had been miraculously set free of their oppression? No. Like, they didn't celebrate the man. They didn't celebrate the man at all for being freed and being free of oppression. Like, they got scared, but we're going to read further. They got scared for the wrong reasons. Oh, where is it at? No. So instead, they reported the news so that the whole town... Wait. Yeah, that was the herdsmen. Okay. Instead, they reported the news so that the whole town begged Jesus to leave their region. Jesus was responsible for a negative impact on their livelihood. So sadly, financial loss took priority over spiritual gain. Thank you, Uncle Tony, because you helped me make sense of, like, this helped me make sense of the passage and why. Because I was really stuck on why would people turn away Jesus like this? Like, do you not know who this is? And they didn't know. Like, they're Gentile. It's not like they had, Jewish background, knowledge of the Torah, and, all of the other, books. They didn't know. They didn't understand. All they saw was that their livelihoods was no more. 2,000 pigs. I don't know what the value would be in that particular time, but I imagine it would be a great deal of income for the town. So, but instead of seeing instead of seeing the miracle, they were blinded by their financial gain being lost. They were blinded by that. And I just was sitting here thinking, I'm just like, how many times, even in your personal life, because I can say I've done this before, like, how many times have you missed your true blessing of receiving the gospel or receiving something that God wants to give you so badly, but you're too blinded by, your circumstances, you're too attached to these different material things that are here on this earth. And it's just, it made me think. And I was just like, now that I know what I know, it does not matter. It does not matter what it is when you know God, when you read His Word, when you understand His Word, and you experience His presence. There is nothing in the world that you could ever trade Him for, and it be worth it. Nothing is worth trading Jesus. Like, nothing is ever worth it. He's worth so much more. It's infinitely much more. So, I don't know. Think about that passage, meditate on it. But that's how I arrived at my thought process. I think I'm just going to go through and write down a summary, my thoughts about it, and then there could be some reflection questions that I can put in here. But yeah, that passage made me think. It truly did make me think. So yeah, that whole town missed out on their true blessing because they couldn't see the miracle over what they had lost. Anyhow, let me know if you enjoyed this. Let me know if you want me to read more scripture to you and kind of tell you about how I came to kind of understand certain passages of the Bible. But this one really just had me sad for a while. I'm just like, they really told him to go away like that. But then I'm just like, look at how we are right now in reality. Like in this world. People reject Jesus every day like it's nothing. But time is short. Jesus is coming back. He surely is. So stay in your word. Read, get prayed up. Pray for your loved ones. Pray for your friends. Yeah. Anyhow, that's all I got. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this, you want to see more. Again, check the description box if you are interested in obtaining one of these. I've got 2 other designs on the website right now, along with some stickers and bookmarks as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or night, and be blessed. Be filled with God's joy and peace. And I'll see you guys in the next one.